chapter 12, lesson 5. And this lesson is called faces, edges, and vertices. Okay? So I'm going to say this word, you're going to repeat it after me. Faces.
Faces.
Oh, that was kind of quiet. Faces.
Faces.
Edges.
Edges. And
Vertices.
Vertices.
Say vertices again.
Vertices.
Okay, so our essential question for this lesson and this chapter is how do I use shapes in equal parts? Okay, so right now, I want you to point to your face. Okay, that is a one kind of face. But that's not the kind of face we're talking about in math. In math, when we say the word face, you can put your hands down if you want. We're talking about these 3D objects or shapes that we learned about yesterday. And these 3D shapes have the sides. And another name for the sides is the faces. So when we count the faces on this triangle, watch Mrs. Murphy and help me count. Ready? I just say that everybody's ready. Ready?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It has 5 faces or 5 sides. Okay? Now, when I talk about the edges, you guys put your hand on the edge of your desk and make your hand go all the way around the edge of your desk. Okay. Now, the edge of your desk is where the top meets the side, and that's the same with the edges. They're the sharp, well, they're kind of like sharp. They're kind of like the points, but it's where 2 sides meet. So let's count the edges together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one has 8. 8 edges. Okay? Now, the vertices mean the points or the corners. If you only have one of them, it's called a vertex. But on all these, you're going to have more than one. So help Mrs. Murphy count the bottom ones first. Ready?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So this one has 5 vertices. Okay? So, it had 5 vertices. It had 5 faces, and it had, was it 8 edges? Yeah. So it had 8 edges. So these 3D shapes can have different amounts. Lila, can you look up your face? Okay, let's do another number rock video. This one is also in 3D shapes, refreshing our memory. It's not the same one as yesterday, because we did a number rock video yesterday, but it's not the same one, okay? Quiet here. Thank you for being patient. Let's do this.
Cylinders look like soda cans. They're the shape of pots and pans. They have 2 circular bases that are congruent and parallel faces. You see cones in construction zones, or when you're eating ice cream cones. All points of the circular base meet at the same point, like a party hat.
These are all 3-dimensional shapes.
They all have a base and take up space.
These are all 3-dimensional shapes.
The 3 dimensions are height, width, and length. Pyramids are what the ancient Egyptians made. The Mayans and the Aztecs did the same. They're made with the polygon at the base and triangular faces that meet in one place. Some prisms are rectangular, like a room. Some prisms are triangular, like a roof. Polygons and edges joining at the vertices make a prism, as you can see.
These are all 3-dimensional shapes.
They all have a base and take up space.
These are all 3-dimensional shapes.
The 3 dimensions are height, width, and length. spiral shape. They call spheres like the planets in outer space. On spheres, there's no base to be found, cause every sphere is perfectly round.
Okay.
Can we watch the one from yesterday?
If we have time at the end, okay? If we have time at the end. So, what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna do this front part of this front page together, and then I'm gonna do the lesson that I'm gonna teach along with the guided practice, because it's gonna go together well. So I'm gonna have Mrs. Stewart and I will pass these up really quick, because we're fast.
No, we're faster.
We're faster than you guys.
No, we are.
We are.
No, we are. We got a race. Let's all wait. Let's all race. We should all race outside. See who's the fastest. Yeah.
Someday.
It will prove it we're the fastest. Yeah. Someday in this time of the year. Not next year.
Okay. Put your name at the top.
This is simple. I need a wet wipe
For what?
for my
I
shirt.
don't have a wet wipe. So you have to go over it, because my wet wipes are gone. So you have to get what is that on your shirt?
Ketchup.
Okay, go over and get a napkin or paper towel. Put some soap on it, and then just try to wipe it as best you can, okay? But I'm out of wet wipes too. Or Kleenex might not work the best because it crumbles. Get a paper towel, and put some soap on there. Okay, now on this front, we're gonna do this front together. This one at the front says we need to figure out the shape. And so we're gonna connect the points or the vertices, okay? And we're gonna see which shape it makes. So we're gonna start at number 1, and we're gonna connect the dots in number order. And then we're gonna name the shape, okay? So right now, go ahead and do your dot to dot. Do you guys remember doing these like when you're younger?
Yes,
Yeah.
I love doing dot to dot.
Okay. So make your dot to dot. Start at 1.
Oh, this is easy. So 4, my line is not straight. Already know what it is. I'm only at 8.
Okay. So are you almost done?
This is a cube.
Let's stop for now. I think you did a great job. Let's stop for
It's
now.
a hexagon.
Pick up all that stuff over
It's
there
a cube.
and put that
It's a
back
hexagon.
there.
No, it's a square. It's not a square. It is a. It's a cube. 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 So cube. I can write an 8 on.
Okay. Second graders, I think most of you are kind of finishing up. Lily, what did we draw?
A cube.
It is a cube. So down at the bottom where it says the shape is a cube. Now, drawing 3D shapes is tricky. It's hard. We know Journey can do it. He's been practicing those, and he's been showing us some of them on the board. And have you guys done that with Mrs. Johnson yet, 3D shapes? No. I think she will do it with you guys next year in 3rd grade or 4th grade. But it's a very hard skill to learn to do. Now, look at our cube. Let's first figure out how many faces our cube has. Now, this is always the tricky part, because when you look at Mrs. Murphy's cube, everybody look up here. I have my cube up here. Okay, I'm going to point to something back here. Can you guys see it where I'm pointing? No. Sometimes on 3D shapes, you cannot see the back of it. It's like hiding. It's there, you just can't see it. So sometimes what they do is they will put like dotted lines to show you that these are where like the edges are, but you just can't see them. Okay? And I know on the next page we're gonna see those dotted lines. So if there's ever dotted lines, and this isn't the best, this means that there is an edge there, but you just can't see it. It's kind of like hiding, okay? So looking at our cube, can you guys, we're gonna put a big F up here for the faces. Can you guys count the faces on your cube, or you can look at Mrs. Murphy's. Count them and see how many do you think this cube has for faces, or the sides. Okay, on the count of 3, I want you guys to tell me the number you think. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
6.
Good, I heard 6. Most of you said 6. Sometimes people say 4 because they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, but then they forget the top and the bottom, 5 and 6. So there are 6 faces. So can you up here put an F and then put 6? Yeah, like a dot to separate it. Corla. Corla, I was just going to mention that. Corla had, was it like your second to last question or your last question? Or was right around 40? Question number 40, right around there. Corla comes up to Mrs. Murphy and she goes, Mrs. Murphy, I don't know how to do this. I said, oh my gosh, we're going to be learning about that in a couple days. Didn't I say that? So bummer. So I couldn't really help her.
Remember that.
But you might have seen this on your NWA test because this is kind of like her. And it had those dotted lines, those dash lines. So I know, I was like, oh shoot, too bad we didn't get to this lesson sooner. Okay, now we got the faces. Let's do the vertexes or the corners. So I want you to count. How many dots do you see? Remember, there's probably going to be one hiding. Oh, and I forgot a line going down here. That's why it looked funny. Okay, on the count of 3, I want you to tell me how many vertices you think there is on this cube. 1, 2, 3.
8.
8. We got the 4 at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job. So put a 8 for the vertices. Okay, now this is the tricky part. Let's put an E for the edges. So remember, the edges are where the sides or the faces come together. And if they make this edge, just like the edge of your desk. So can you count? Maybe count your lines, and maybe these dash lines too you need to count. I still don't get it. There we go. That's right now. Mrs. Murphy had one line wrong. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I was like, that doesn't seem right. Now I think I got it fixed.
Yeah, that looks way better.
Okay. All right, guys, on the count of 3, tell me how many edges you think this cube has. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
10.
Okay, I hear 10. But it's not 10.
It's 12.
Kinsley, what do you think it is?
It's 12.
It is 12. So let's count. Watch. Kinsley's right. We have the 4 on the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got the 4 on the bottom. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we have the 4 coming down each side. 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 of them. So it's easy to miss some. It happens. And I think you guys probably missed a few of these back ones. But it is easy to miss. So there are 12 edges. 12 edges. Good job. Okay, Brooklyn and Ellie, I need you to stop and get to your math, okay?
I am uncomfortable.
Okay, you're doing, okay. Because I don't want you to get behind Ellie.
Because I'm just doing it while I clean.
Okay. All right.
Can we color our cube?
You want to color it? Then
Yes.
why don't you just leave it because you color it, then you're not going to be able to see the cool lines and stuff.
Color it out.
Okay, now let's turn it to the guided practice.
Color it out. Or she could just copy off on Kaden.
Okay, so up here on the guided practice, it says you can describe 3-dimensional shapes by the number of faces, edges, and vertices. So we just talked about the edges where 2 sides or faces meet. And then we have the faces going around. I have one quick question for you guys. On the video, they talked about like this shape. It's a cone.
Cone, yeah.
Okay, what do you think they called the bottom of this? They didn't use the word face. They had another name for it. But it kind of almost rhymes with face.
Is it a unique name?
No. Journey?
Base?
Base. Yep, they call this the base. And the base is like what the shape sits on. It's like the bottom of it. So
But this Murphy.
it's still considered a face, but another name would be a base. Lila.
But you know, with the it's like it's a good way to remember like a cone. But when you put it down like a real cone, the ice cream would.
It definitely would. You're right. Okay,
Besides,
now
I'm having ice cream tonight.
the face is a flat surface. An edge is where two faces meet. And a vertex is where three or more faces meet. And they will form that sharp point or that corner. So another name is a corner. Okay?
Miss Murphy, I'm just gonna listen and like clean my desk.
Okay. Do it quickly though. Now, we're going to have some fun. And we're going to look at these shapes. And we're going to figure out the faces, the edges, and the vertices. Now, this first one, I think we've already done on the front page, haven't we?
Yes.
Yes. We've done this cube already. So, who thinks they can come up here? They might have to look back at the paper. And tell us, our friends, how many faces are on the cube?
These are sticks.
Briley, you think you can? Okay, so Briley, how many faces did this have? Good. Do you want to do the rest?
That is 2 or 6.
How many edges did it have? Do you remember? Okay, if you don't remember, 8. Are you sure about 8? There was 4 on top, 4 on the bottom,
That's 8.
and 4 going around the sides.
That's 12.
So that one would be 12, right? I think you forgot maybe the sides. So 4 on top, 4 on bottom, 4 going around the sides. How many vertices or points? Corners. 8. That one is 8. Good job. Good job. Okay. Let's go on to this one, the rectangular prism. So look at Mrs. Murphy's rectangular prism up here. Why don't I draw some sticks? And I'll have one person come up for each number, so we'll get quite a few of you to come up. All right, let's start with the faces. Looking at this and your shape, 3D shape, how many faces does it have, Libby? Look at, if you want to hold it, look at it, you can.
4.
Okay, but you forgot
You forgot the top and bottom.
the top and the bottom. 5, 6. So good try, and I'm glad you made that mistake because Libby, a lot of kids, even adults, make that mistake. They'll count the ones going around, but they forget the top and the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So good job. Once you make that mistake, you probably usually don't make it again because you'll remember it. You're like, oh yeah, the top and the bottom. Okay, the edges. Ingrid, you want to come up here and see how many edges? So the edges were like where they meet. So like this would be an edge. Okay, so Ingrid's got, let's help her count. Ready?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Is she done yet? She's got to get here. Help her count. 5, 6, 7, 8. Is she done?
No.
She's got to get the bottom. Count the bottom.
9, 10, 11, 12.
You got it. Good job.
Wait, are we going to say things?
Edges, yeah, 12.
The cube and the rectangular prism are the same thing. Only the rectangular prism is taller.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Why quiet. You're right. Stay down a minute. Kaden, vertices. Good job. Kaden, do you even have to count that?
No.
How did you know that this was 8?
Because the rectangle's taller than the cube, but they're both the same shape.
They're basically almost the same shape. If this one's shorter and fatter, this one's stretched, but they have the same number of faces, same number of edges, so they have the same number of vertices. So good job. You noticed that and Wyatt noticed that. Good job. Okay. All right, everyone ready for the next one?
Catching up real quick. Ellie, look up.
Okay. All right, now we're on to the pyramid and the sphere. Okay, Mrs. Murphy has the pyramid here. How many faces? What do you think? I'm gonna skip Elie because she's finishing. Addie. So how many faces, Addie? That's first.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay.
5.
Now, they do say the bottom is the base. So we have 5 faces, but this one's actually kind of a base. So, Addie, let's just put on the pyramid, let's put the faces as 4. Because it's a 4 going around. Actually, put it as 5. Put it as 5. And just remember, guys, that this is a base. They call this a base.
Addie, that was cool. You flipped and then it got to your color. That's a big one.
Perfect.
Do the rest.
I'm going to draw sticks to make it
Okay.
clear.
Bye.
Okay. Elie, come on. Let's go. I don't know what you're doing with your spoon, but let's go. All right, the next one is the edges. Corla, you want to come up here and count the edges? Good job, Corla. Corla says there's 8. There's 4 going up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's 4 at the bottom going around to make the square. So there's 8 edges. Now, how many vertices? This one's a tricky one. How many vertices? What do you think? No, John. How about Riley?
I thought Riley.
That's all right. Actually, since you already came up, it's okay if I pick it on my friend. I forgot that you did. Journey, will you come up and do the vertices? The corners or the points. So you were counting the edges, count the points for the corners. That's it? Yeah, you're right.
5, 8, 5.
Perfect. So Journey says there are 5. He's right. There's 4 on the bottom. And then there's the very, very top one. So excellent job.
How many of these you have?
Quite a few. Quite a few.
That's
All right. My sphere. Do you remember from the video? I think they talked about the sphere, Kaden. Wait, I'm gonna draw a stick actually. How many faces does this have? Tyson, you remember?
0.
0. You do remember. Come right, 0, Tyson. This doesn't have any faces.
Because there's no sides.
Right? It's not straight.
It doesn't even
Yep.
edges or it doesn't
Right.
have anything.
So if there's no faces, LES, how many edges does it have then?
0.
Come up, you're right.
It's simple. Then 0. It's just 0, 0, 0.
And then the last one, Carson, how many vertices or points or corners?
None.
None, 0. So this one is 0s all the way across.
Miss Murphy, I thought he said 9.
I think he said none.
I know, but I thought
Yeah,
he
I thought he
said
said 9. Yeah, he said none.
No, Miss Murphy, you said none.
No, he said none. She thought he said 9, but it was none. Okay, once you have this done, flip your paper to the back. We're gonna do the problem solving. And then you'll do the independent practice on your own, okay?
No brain builders. We cross off the railroad.
Yes, you may cross off the brain builders, or if you want to leave them and do them later, that's fine.
Never. Never, actually. I never did. Yeah.
Okay, on to the back. It says, Mindy drew the 3 shapes below. Circle the shape. There's one shape. Carson, please don't do that. That has 6 faces and 12 edges. Wyatt, what do you think? Yes, come up here and circle that. The rectangular prism. So, 6 faces. There's 4 going around, and then the top and the bottom. And then there's 12 edges. 4 at the bottom. I'm sorry, 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top, and then 4 on each end. So, that would give us 12 edges. Good job. This one doesn't have any. And this one, Journey just did. And that had 5 faces. And then only, let's see, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that was not enough edges either.
That's simple.
Okay. All right, flip your paper back to independent practice. And then put your pencils down. Okay, put your pencils down. Don't want to start ahead. Okay, because this is going to be great because we're going to get done and we're going to have some extra time because we have a lot in our to-do basket. Okay, listen up. When I graded your papers yesterday, you guys did so much better at reading the directions and completing everything. I think almost everybody had perfects. So, listen to directions again. Up at the top, you're going to circle the shapes. So there might be more than one shape that matches the description. So you're going to have to read how many faces, how many edges, and how many vertices. Remember, the vertices are the corners. Okay? So 0 faces, 0 edges, 0 vertices. This one should be easy. What is it, guys?
Circle.
Sphere. I like that, Lila. Well, she's like, no, sphere. Good job. So that is the sphere. So number 5 would be the sphere. There's only on one that one. Only one on that one. Yes, circle that, please. Okay. Now, you can pick up your pencil and circle that one. Then put your pencil down. Okay. On 6, 7, and 8, I want you to try that. Okay, don't ask for help right away. I want you to try to count those. Then on numbers 9, 10, 11, and 12, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to circle the objects, though, that match the description. Okay, match the objects that match the description. Okay? All right. When you get done, hand it in. And then I want, let's refresh my memory. Ellie A, Carson,
That's it.
Lily are going to work on their number scrolls. Because they're almost 1,000. So Carson and Ellie, and then Lily does not have to get to 1,000. She hasn't been here the whole time, but she wants to work on it. So,
when I get done, I can help Carson.
okay. But he's been working so hard, so I think we're going to let him try to do it. Okay, the rest of you, when you get done, I might have something to do for you in the to-do basket that I want to get done before Friday fun time. If not, would you go on to iExcel and see if there's any T's? And if there's no T's, then do any yellow highlighted math on Excel. That means that you've started it, you just haven't finished it, okay? Go ahead and go.